It's screaming the same thing. It's screaming, I want to go lower. I still think, just looking at this, I don't think we're even going to get another pause. Because like we've had enough MMB entries. Everyone behind this is likely already here. Maybe you get one more lucky one, but I think we're getting one more big flush, and then we'll start getting like some chop, finally, like this. This is what I think we're doing. So I think we're going to like around 80K, which means like this thing should just plummet, right? Like down here maybe. Who knows? All right, again, I'm not looking left, by the way. I'm not going like, oh, we can plummet to this little perfect resistance and this one. Right, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about stage 1s and 2s. Remember that. When you see me draw a zone, like when I say stage 2, stage 1, stage 2, I'm thinking about dumping into the stage 2s, not into zones, right? Because a lot of people right now are looking left going, where is it gonna stop? Maybe I can be a buyer here or a buyer here. Ooh, look, there's like, maybe it'll be a buyer there or there or there. Like, I'm not playing that game, all right? I'm simply playing stage 1, stage 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm just looking for it to plummet. That's it. Right? I don't care what's on the left. This is the big difference between what we do and what a lot of other people do, which is that a lot of people focus on what's over here. I focus on what the story that took us here is telling us now, right? How is this story of the action telling? Like, what is the story being told by action? But yeah, just looking at this, like everything about this, once again, is showing this. That's it. There's no reason this can't just, let's go back to the V time frame. There's no reason this doesn't just like plummet through this, like at least to 82K. This is what I think is gonna happen. Now,
1 week later.
does everyone understand why this context time frame would be one that is viable to start following for longs? In regards to the fact that we have stage 1s, we have stage 2s, we have the sign of momentum, and where that sign of momentum is happening. That's really it, right? Because everything that we do starts with a cycle, and the cycle is always the same. We have a stage 1 that goes into a stage 2. The move into the stage 2 is an accumulation MB, and that's done with a sign of true momentum. A sign of momentum that basically sets it apart from what was happening prior. So when we look at this, simply, visually, do you see it? And B's is right, not just accumulation B, but you're also above the 50. Yeah, so I have the 50 on here, and this is above the 50, so it's a nice area to consider, right? So again, this is just a small and easy visual, but it's a reminder too that if you simply start to visually put a few things together, even like this, into a sheet, like even 3 images, you've already done more than most people are ever going to do. And if you simply wait and look for just these moments on markets that you trade, that's it. You've done most of the work, in a sense, right? Because you've accepted patience, you've accepted a moment that you have to wait for, and then you wait for it. Here's another example. When you look at this, what are the orders telling you, right? When you actually take a look at this, in terms of the fact that we were going through this long-term stage 1, and then price down here started to move, started to sail averages, started to move higher, what do the orders behind this thing tell you? I wouldn't say it's a reaccumulation, really. Distribution to accumulation, money is coming in. Yeah, I agree. Right, so this is a market I also ended up trading. And we'll go over all trades and stuff soon as well. But you have this market that came down, started kind of stage 1ing over a long period of time. This right here, does everyone see this up candle right here? Even during this up candle, I would say that this was a decent accumulation. Right here, when this candle was an up candle, I would say that this was an accumulation. I would have traded inside of this leg here. Right, then price failed and kept going sideways, never really showed any strength, and then all of a sudden started to move higher, sail averages, move higher, and now we have another sign of true momentum. We have demand or demand validation. We have a stage 2, all coming out of a larger stage 1, right? So what are the orders telling you? If this is just the only thing you're working with, and this is your context time frame, well, the only thing the orders are telling me is that the next step here, like simply if I asked you, what's the next step on this thing? Is it to move down to these lows, or would it be to move up to this high? Right, that's it. Which one would you go for, right? Would it be a move down to here or a move up to here? Because simply the game that we're playing is, if there is a stage 2, or if a stage 2 is happening, where is the likelihood of that stage 2 to move to? Right, so this is your easy way to start kind of case studying and thinking about moves, right? Your first and simple question can simply be, based on this move, is a stage 2 higher or lower, more likely? And you can start all your variable measurement from there, right? That's it. We have another one. What do we have here? is this a market that you would suspect would be here or here over the next few candles? This is our context time frame, right? Look at the prior action, prices moving higher, sailing on averages, and moving through a stage 1 into a stage 2, and the stage 2 is to the upside, right? Do you guys see how even this, even though it's different than this, shares similar qualities? Or no? This is this is a nice area to talk about. Like, do you see similar qualities here or not? And if you do, what are some of those qualities that you see? Black says money is coming in, sure, but what are the qualities that kind of lead to that? What kind of showcase that both of these might be in the same move, even though they look quite different, right? This is the understanding that is built from the fact that we're looking at orders, we're not looking specifically at just one perfect move. Also, it's kind of bright in here, huh? I'm getting hit by a sun. I don't know if you guys see that, but... Clean MAs, so let's see. So we have MAs that are kind of coming down, prices below them, and then as price moves above, it stays above. Let's see. Whoops. Price is kind of moving down, stays kind of below these MAs. As it moves above, it stays above, and now it's above. Sure, EMAs can be one thing. Over the MAs is another. Relationship to MAs and the strength, the sign of true momentum. Sure, there's a sign of true momentum. Something that I see nobody has said yet, there's one important factor here that I don't see anyone has said yet. Leaving stage 1, yep, it is leaving stage 1, that's fine. But the main thing is that prior to the stage 2, prior to the sign of true momentum, price has proven a willingness to already start giving demand and ride the averages, right? Notice this here. What happened? Price started moving higher and did what in this moment right there? What did it do? It pauses on the averages and then continues moving higher. What does it do here? Prior to this, the sign of true momentum, prior to the move out of the stage 1, or while it made these stage 1s and 2s here, what did it do? The small stage 1s and 2s moved higher to ride the averages, right? So you had this proof that money is behind this thing, right? Does everybody see that? Does anyone have questions between those, or do you understand why I would have been okay with going long in this event and in this event? Okay, says Alex. Here's another one. Does everyone see the similarity between this and the stuff that we saw before? Or not? So again, all I'm doing right now is I'm trying to work you through some examples of context to get you to understand kind of what I'm looking for, so you can also go back to your case studies or even your own testing and ask yourself the same questions of, does the stuff here feel representative of what you kind of saw in the Webbies or what you saw as a good context or not? Right? This is one of the ways that you actually properly case study. A move above the clear stage 1 area, price below averages. As it starts moving higher, it starts to sail some of these averages, and then it's sign of true momentums. If you think about this all as one candle, it's just pure demand validation, right? And a move higher. So the question here becomes, do all of these fit kind of the principles for a potential long market or a buying market? Yeah, sure, right? And I'll even ask you guys, does it matter what time frame this is or what market this is? Like right here in front of you. No, none of us know. Do you guys want to guess what this is? Do you think it's a FX pair? You think it's a stock? Do you think it's a crypto? Does it matter? Right? Because for some people, it still might feel like it matters. But for a lot of you, you're now starting to realize, like, it really doesn't matter what the market is, right? What do you think this is? Can you tell by just looking at it? A good pair to long. Yep, that's all it is. You're completely correct. What is this? This is the market I want to buy. Cameraman, you want to know what this is? It's that moment right there. The one that I actually traded. right? That's it. And I now have the privilege, right, of being able to look over that version of a case study after the fact because, this is where I actually traded it and see what actually played out on this thing. Where did you enter, says ZG. So I broke it down in one of the webbies, but my entry, I believe, was somewhere around here. I'll show you that. Yeah, my entry was right here. Inside of this little pause right there. Now, if we're doing, like, stupid, simple things, we're not even thinking about entry timeframes and all this crazy shit, what is one way that this trade could be entered? If this is all we got, and if this is something that we wanted to go long on. You could literally long through just a demand validation, literally a demand validation, like any down candle, throw a stop lower down, and look for your one-to-one, right? This could be a system that is entirely plausible and profitable, right? I haven't done the testing regarding that, but what I wanted to showcase here was that even though, I might have traded right there perfectly, and I might have traded there and there, it doesn't mean anything. Any one of us can have systems that are unique and profitable, right? For you, it might just be the case that, hey, this showed sign of true momentum. When it paused here on the averages, maybe for you, you just long off the averages. Throw the stop under the sign of true momentum and just hold until it breaks below the 10, like that. And it's a 1 to 2.9 R trade. Right, there it is, 1 to 2.9 R trade. That's it. That could be your entire trade, right? So it's your so this is also, like, the point of me doing this and showing you all this random shit is to remind you that confusion is imminent because there are many ways to actually make money in the markets. There are many ways to use an EVC to your own benefit. You don't have to trade this version of, like, Anton enters with this tiny little stop on the hourly and I must find out how he does it for the entry. You can simply build a system out of, I have clear market, I have sign of true momentum, I have this happening on the V, and I want to enter, right? And that can entirely in itself be a profitable system, right? Some people think that they have to have this like 20% win rate. Like me, they don't, right? Your system can literally be, okay, the daily's pausing. As the daily pauses, like even here, right? When the daily was pausing here, you could simply be along through the down candle, throw your stop way below, just like we just did, and look for a 1-to-1, right? As price plays around, you can move even to break even like here and then take a break even. Done. Okay, next trade, right? It moves around, it comes up, it starts pausing. Okay, you long through the down candle when it pauses right here onto the 5. You make your stop big, you simply wait, right? You might break, and 1-to-1, you might break even like on this candle, and if you do, then great, you can enter again here, and then you have your 1-to-1 delivery, right? Trading does not have to be this insanely complex thing, but what happens to us, right, is we attach ourselves a lot more to the potential monetary output, which means what? We look for versions of entries that can give us the most money instantly. We forget the fact that we can have a profitable system out the gate, just like you guys saw in the portal, right? In the portal, I did a version of this system. Do you guys remember that? For those of you that have been through it, where I'm like, literally, wait for a good C, enter off of a V, and call it a day, right? A lot of you can have your first bits of profitability this way. Instead of a 401k or instead of a retirement account, instead of like a savings account with a bank for 1% a year, you can simply have a version of a system like this. You screen for good markets, you wait for the stage 1s and 2s, you enter, you hold, you let it deliver, you manage it, you can check in weekly, anywhere in the world, because again, like you barely need to check the markets to do this, and that could be your entire system, right? So I want to remind you all as we're doing this that there are many ways to get involved when you have figured out what a good C or a good V or a good E for you is, right? So if this is a C that I'm willing to enter, what should I now do technically on my V? What would the first thing be? Based on just the system that we just discussed, right? In this webinar, we made our own system just now. How can I now enter this if this is a C that I like? Well, if I see a V pullback on a lower time frame, right? I can simply do what? I can enter through the next demand validation, right? If there's clean down candles, I set a buy stop above a down candle. Does everyone understand that? Does anyone feel confused by that, even if you're brand new, given that you've been through some of the material? Or are you starting to see that there are ways that you can basically manipulate the market and the data to your own beckoning? You can beckon it to your own will, right? And this is how. You can build a system that makes the most sense for you to make money. Beckon. Yeah, beautiful little word. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now if I move to the V of a bunch of those markets, so simply, of all these markets, I simply move to a V. This is one of them. Well, what can you do? If this was a V, just based on what we're doing now, you can either step down to the E and look for entries, right? Or you can buy stop this high, right? For the down candle, buy stop here, throw a stop here, and look for a 1-to-1. Is anything about that complex? Is anything about that fucking mind-bending to the point where you're like, this is the most complex system of all time, I must figure out the liquidity, you know, or whatever it is? Yeah, it's unfairly easy. What happened if you did the same thing back here? When price paused, created a down candle here or here, and you buy stopped either this or this. Same thing, right? No difference. Let's say you did it back here. Price paused right here, you buy stop this high, you put your stop here, you look for a 1-to-1. What happens? Even though it fails, it still works. Because in this case, we're looking at a system that would be less hands-on, higher win rate probably, easier management, and simpler targets, right? And you find a good market, you can trade it, right? So, and if I look at the V here, what is the action telling you prior to the pause? Is the action telling you that it has the unwillingness to move? Is the action telling you that it doesn't know if it wants to go higher? Or is the action telling you that there is clear buying, right? Demonstrated buying that's now pausing? Which one of those is what's actually happening, right? Yeah. What does this V tell you? What kind of move did we have higher? What kind of pauses did we have prior? What's going on? You can see this is the same thing that we just saw on the C for a lot of those things, right? Price is proving itself, price is moving, and now price is pausing. So, if you're trading a stupid simple system, where can you enter? Probably here or here, right? Demand validation. Stop loss here, 1-to-1. Does that confuse anyone? Or the other option is you can simply go to the E time frame and look for a refined entry if that's what you're doing, right? Because you have a way to make the concepts and the system work for you rather than against you. The beautiful thing here is you're not forced into a bubble of a way to think, right? Fizzler says all these concepts are possible due to the understanding and validation of true demand. Exactly. So you can either step lower and look for that better demand validation and maybe you don't get the entry, or you can stick to a very stupid simple system where you're like, all right, I'm gonna take that demand validation, that's my entire system. So far, does anyone have any questions? If you're brand new or anything, but you've been through some of the material, you can ask. Otherwise, if you're brand new, just simply allow yourself to be confused and you will understand a lot more as you work through, and you can rewatch this webinar later, right? But at the moment, does anyone have any questions that say, like, I don't get why I would trade the V, I don't get why I might step down to the E, or does everything here so far align with the same thing, right? If I asked you, what's more likely based on this moment right now? Price moving here or here? That's it. That can be the starting principles of a good system, right? This is what people misunderstand about trading the markets. You don't have to have this exceptional, perfect fucking entry every single time, every single day, especially on the lower. You can simply play demand validations that make sense in line with what you're looking for and let them deliver for like a 1-to-1 and then manage. And you can have just like a 20% break-even rate, a 30 to 40% loss rate, and a 30 to 40% win rate and make money with 1-to-1, right? That's it. Like, it does not have to be insane, but it also means that you're not going to be making a fuck ton of money instantly, right? What could be the adversity of the system just got mentioned? Focusing clean context one. Super Big FA, explain that a little bit more to me, and I'll answer you. But let's see again. What did these V's tell us? All of them, right? Yeah, they're saying the same thing, right? So that's an example of a visual that tells you kind of what they want to do, right? And if they're all happening at the same time, what might you do? If these were all happening at the exact same time, and the markets generally look correlated based on what I'm seeing here, what would you do? Would you trade them all? Probably not. You would look at them and you'd say, okay, this has an easy high to buy stop. This also has an easy high to buy stop. This had more power to the top side here. This had pretty good power to the top side here. This is moving higher, but it's pausing quite ugly. I might buy stop here or here. So the easiest one would probably be to buy stop this, or whichever one activates first. Does everyone understand that? Is that complex? Is that crazy? That's a version of potential relativity. And then we can also, the other option is step down to an entry time frame. If I go inside of the entry time frame of some of these, here's what I see. Right? So what can you do? Well, you can either make the choice to buy stop the MBs, or the choice to wait and not take something. Right? And why might it work on an entry time frame to do this? Because we know that we have a stage 2, we have a flush, we have the buildup of MBs under the point of supply. And from here, we can have another system. Now, would it be wrong for me to buy stop here, have a stop all the way down here, and then look for a 1-to-1? It's not wrong. Would it be wrong for me to buy stop here, have a stop right there, and then either break even or take a loss on it? No, right? Because simply, we can bend the market and make it unfair, as I love to say. We can make trading unfair because we can have our own rules about what we're willing to enter. Here's another entry time frame. What can we do? Can we buy stop this high right here as it exists? Yeah, why not? Here's a bunch of E time frames. Which ones would you be willing to buy stop? Just based on the fact that if they were all happening at once. So let's say you did have a bunch of markets. So we're not just looking at one. If you had a bunch of markets that generally, if you kind of look at this, are all relatively correlated, which ones might you be willing to buy stop given that you don't know what the V and the C looks like? There could be multiple, right? Black says 4 and 7. Some people are saying 7. Bounty says 3. Every single one, says Alicio. Really, Alicio? Even number 6? You would buy stop that? One, 2, 4, 7 says black. 1, 2, 4, and 7. Interesting, okay. I like 4 and 7 just because they're pausing right at the average, but 2 here goes way below, right? That could be a sign of what? Weakness, right? Iron Gate says 2, 5, 7, so 2, 5, 7. So that's interesting too, because if 5 and 7 are doing that, but 2 is going below the averages, right? Would you prefer 2, or would you now just stick to 5 and 7? So this is the important factor of relativity too, right? Specifically for Iron Gate over there. Armand says 3, 4, 7. So let's look. 3, okay. 4, okay. 7. Okay, I can agree with that. 3, 4, 7 looks good because they're all kind of doing the same thing, right? Okay. Black says 5 to 7. 2 only buy high. Okay. Iron Gate says 2, 5, 7 in that order. 2, 5, 7. Oh, so you prefer when it goes deeper. So like I don't like it when it goes deeper, right? So I would prefer 5 and 7 because they're pausing higher up. This would be weakness to me, right? Because it's falling down. Meant 5, 7, 2 from Iron Gate says 5, 7, 2 in that order. Okay, that makes more sense. Lade Carter says 1, 3, 4, 7. 1, okay. 3, okay. 4, okay. 7. Cool. You guys want to know something interesting? I traded this one right here. It wasn't necessarily the best. Maybe it's not the best when I put them all together. This is the one I traded. I buy stopped this high. Right here. You guys want to know what that was? That was actually Solana flipped. It was this trade right here. I'll show you it right now. There it is. That's the one I buy stopped, or sell stopped. And the reason I did this and chose this is because, again, from the portal, you learned how to think in long, so I flipped all the colors and stuff. This is the sell I took. Right there. Right? Now, you might feel that version of confusion, like, oh shit, but it's selling market, what the fuck? That's it, right there. That's what we just looked at as a buy stop, right? I just simply flipped all the colors. Just so you all know, these are all cryptos. Every single one's a crypto, all of them are flipped. And most importantly, I know a lot of you said different numbers. I want to show you something. So Solana was number 3. Good job for anyone that also said 3. Some people said, what? 7, I remember. 7. I think that was, let's see if I can find the number. 7, that doesn't look like 7. That doesn't look like 7. Which one was 7? That doesn't look like 7. Oh, I don't know which one was fucking... I don't know which one was 7. Whoops. Tee. Hold on, guys. Okay, some people said 5, right? I think that was this one. 5. Yeah, so 5 was this one. This is H bar. This was 5. I'll show you H bar now. So anybody that says 5, you guys made a fuck ton of money, right? A reminder that you don't have to be on the same move as me, on the same market as me. You can see something that you like and look at, this is 5 for people that said 5. Okay, let's keep going. Who said other stuff? Well, which one was 7? Let me see if I can find it. 7. So it looks like 4 kind of candles down. Okay, 4 candles down. Not that one. That was Solana. That was not the one. No. Was it this one? I don't know. Look at the 50 EMA on 7. Okay, we have like this little shwoo. Okay, got it. Thank you. Not that one. Oh, it's this one, right? Okay, so 7, for anyone that said 7, was SEI USD. Let's see if you would have made money. You would have made money. Are you guys starting to see that the market doesn't actually matter as long as the context is there, the V is there, and you simply have an idea of what you want to trade? Okay, good shit for 7. You guys made money. Let's see what else we can find. So that was 7. Let's just go through them. So we have 7 done. Let's make that green. Boom. We looked at 3. That's the one I traded. Boom. Whoops. Boom. Whoops. Boom. Let's look at 3 again just so you guys can see it. Sol USD. There it is. Literally the one I trade. There it is. Make me money as we have a webinar. Wonderful. I'm actually going to set an alert right now just in case, because we're going to start using some candle highs here to trail, because I think we're just around, yeah, we're about 4 RR. That's pretty good. So we're going to have an alert set there for myself just in case anything goes off. Did we go over 5? Which one did we go over, guys? We went over 5, right? This was H bar, I think. Was it? Do you guys remember? 5. H bar USD. Let's flip it so we can see it. Was that H bar? Yeah. Okay. We got H bar, and again, would you have made money? Unbelievable. Unbelievable amounts of money. Phenomenal. Good job, everyone. You all made money. Okay. What else do we got here? Somebody said 6. Oh, no, they accidentally said 6. But this is something I wouldn't trade, right? But let's go look at 6. 6 was XLM, USD. XLM. Wow. You still would have made money. Even though it's complete dog shit. Look at that. Wow. Okay. That's 6. I'm going to make it yellow just because I don't think it was that good of a setup. I'm going to just make it yellow so I remember. What else did we say? PSB said 1, 3, and 4. 1, 3 was good. I like that. 4. What was 4? 4. Was it BNB? I think it's this, right? Okay, let's go take a look. You would have broken even, but you want to know something interesting about BNB? Ready? What do you see on the C time frame? Done. Preventable. A market that didn't deliver that well, even though the entry time frame might have looked good, completely preventable. Useless C time frame, right? Not ready. So if you said yes to trading it, that's completely fine because the C does actually look pretty, I mean, the E looks good, but if you do the work and you look at the actual things, there's just no market there, right? A good example of the setup looks good, but it fails compared to every other one. Why? Because of where it was on the C. Now let's look at the C on Solana, right? You know what's funny? There it is. That was the C. Again, I changed all the colors to fuck with your minds. So it looked like a bullish market, but these were the bearish markets that I've been trading this last week. The same bearish markets that last week, if you guys remember, we said what? Do you guys remember what we said about Bitcoin? Do you guys remember what I drew out for all of you? Do you guys remember what I drew on the daily? Do you remember when I said last week, this thing should go to like 79K, 80K? Does anyone remember this? This was literally last Sunday, right? This is the market that I'm now trading. To the moon. Where's that picture? Which one? Which one? Bitcoin playing out nicely? Yep. All right, let's go back to our slideshow. Entry time frame. So yeah, we looked at all these, right? Great. And we know that some of these, the ones that didn't work, were they preventable or not? If we took into account EVC. And most importantly, actually, let's go back here for a sec. Look at all these Vs. Let's play the game that we just played. Sol USD on a V. Let's flip this. What did we say? If we buy stop the down candle, or in this case it would be the up candle. Whoops, buy stop would be now a sell stop, right? If we sell and we make our stop here and we aim for 1-to-1, would this be a good trade? There you go. Based on what we just did together in this webinar as an entire system of its own. Would this be a good trade? Yes. And now we have a stage 2 lower, so what can we do? We manage a break even, and if it invalidates and fails, there's nothing to do, and if it goes, we make money. What were the other ones? I think there was like SUI. Oh, this is one of the uglier ones, but you can see it's working beautifully, right? There was H-bar. You could have actually prevented taking this because of the V. That could be understandable. There was, which else was clean? I think SEI was clean. This thing was all right, yeah. Again, you can just simply sell here, right, through the up candles. Would this be, here we go, big stop, like I said, 1-to-1. Would this be a good setup based on just what we went over? And let me get rid of the log version so you can see the 1-to-1. There you go. Because I know it looks like it's not 1-to-1, but this would be 1-to-1. Is this a good setup? Now, guys, if you went on Twitter or Instagram and started posting these, what do you think the crypto community would feel like? Fuck, it's not going to the moon, right? Like, how dare you go short crypto? Right? It's like, just look at the market. What has the market been telling you? If you sold here, is that a good say? Is that a good setup? Is this a good trade? There's nothing special here, right? This could be your whole system. That's it. This could literally be your entire system. Or maybe you want to just protect the low, or sorry, the high of the actual move. 1-to-1, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Good shit, McLoco. Every drop for Twitter, every drop for Twitter is a good time to buy a dip. That's how they feel, right? And yet, right now, what am I? I'm as bearish as can be. You know what I see still on Bitcoin? Nothing has changed. All I see right now is next week or 3 weeks. I'll see you guys at $80,000 next. Then I might see you even lower after. Because what I'm doing is I'm not here to have guesswork, right? I'm here to simply play the cycle that's playing out. And if the cycle steps in terms of accumulation MBs, distribution MBs, stage 1, stage 2s, sign of true momentum is there, am I going to randomly create crazy scenarios in my head for what could happen, or do I simply play the cycle in front of me? So, Now you know how I expect or continue to expect any given week. Right? This is funny. Buy the dip. This is the 5th dip this week. Yeah, literally. Again, we don't have to sit there and buy dips or whatever the fuck other people are doing. So again, you have a great example of good Vs that you could have entered on or the Es that you could have entered on. And you can see how, depending on who you are and how you trade, you can see a lot of these worked out beautifully. 5 HBAR USD worked out phenomenally, or 7 HBAR USD or whatever this was worked out phenomenally. 3 Sol USD, this is working out right now as we speak. I have an alert set because it's working out so well. There it is. This is the move I'm in. I think this was since Thursday, right? Yeah, since Thursday. This is literally the move I'm in. And it's delivering. And this was after I took this loss. I believe this was a loss, right? And after I took this break even. And this was the week before. I think I broke this one down. Instant loss or something. Or did I take a break even? I don't even remember anymore. Let me look at the 8-minute really quick. 8, 10-minute or so. Let's see. Yeah, this was an instant loss, I remember. Got in, got taken out. Right through this point. Right? Very nice and easy. Very nice and easy. Got back in. Took a break even, got back in through that exact one that a lot of you specified as a number, like 3, and now we are in pure delivery. And at minimum, I'm already making about 2.3 R on this, which means I'm up overall in just the last 14 days on this thing from all the trades I've taken, right? That's it. And I'm allowing the system and the data to play out, even though, if you notice, I'm actually going through a drawdown right now. And did I even add in the loss on Solana yet? I don't even know. I think I did. Yeah, it's right here. I have my loss in here. We also have the Sol USD break even. We have the current Sol USD guaranteed around +2. We'll just record that for now and make it yellow because we're still working on that one. What the hell happened? 2. Because we're still working on that one, right? And you'll see my curve is nothing special happening in my curve. Take a look. Right, my win rate keeps dropping. It's almost at 20%. And my curve is just chilling up here. Let's let it upload properly. There you go. Like, look at it. Maybe I gotta add in the dates. Maybe like this for now. I'll have to edit these to be proper later. There we go. I don't want to waste your time with it right now. Yeah, there you go. Just going through a natural drawdown. Maybe it'll go deeper. Who knows? Right? My last, what? 50 trades now, 20 trades have been, the last 50 trades are in drawdown. You guys can see that. And yet, I just simply execute, right? Let's go back here for a second. So, right, a lot of those entries could work. We just saw that. Well, it's the filter. Of course, it's EVC. We find a context. This is kind of our goal. We find the context, we validate it. And then we seek our entry. Our entry can be a validation entry. It can be an entry on the entry time frame. It can be an MMB entry. It can be an entry off the E-micro. It doesn't matter. But that's all we're doing. And the most important thing is that we repeat this on the clearest markets we can. And that in itself is how you initially, or that's how initially guaranteed confusion, because all of us, like I said before this webinar, all of us are guaranteed to be confused. This is how your guaranteed confusion, which you will experience, is going to become understanding. Because the more you repeat this system right here in front of you, I think my head's in the way on the thing. There we go. Let's move that up for a second. This process right here is how you kind of get rid of that confusion. Nothing more. Okay? And then, after you've done that enough times, well, this is the example of what we saw on Sunday. This is what we sent on Sunday. This is how we predict bearish or bullish moves. We simply follow the cycle. Thank you for coming to my presentation, okay? Now, let me go back to the chat here. Now, on Solana, let's actually discuss this overall trade. Because you guys just saw it, but let's actually talk about the actions taken to trade this thing. Right? Simply, one-sided market. That one-sided market became an accumulation MB somewhere around here, if we have it all flipped. What would I do around these times here? I would be more than happy to trade long. Or in this case, right, because we're looking at this, we're trading short. a very important distinction and thing to remind you is that at this point where I'm happy to trade, look what happens. There is not just failure, but there is then failure for, in this case, 30 candles. How much is that for me? Does anyone see that number? Thank you. 210 days. About 2/3 of a year, I was happy to trade this, instantly back to, I am not touching this. Does everyone really understand when I say we are teaching ourselves to be patient and wait for our good setups, what that means? It doesn't just mean we show up every day, we're just gonna wait for a little trade. It literally means I might not touch you for 210 days, right? And that's completely fine because I have something that I'm waiting for. That is a hard thing to process for a lot of people. Now, I know I'm on a higher time frame, but this is the exact same thing no matter what time frame you're on. It might not be 210 days, it might be 210 hours, it might be 210 weeks, right? For some of you. It just depends. But nonetheless, right here, as the overall market started to move into exactly what we spoke about last week, this distribution MB. As the whole market began to move into that, and a lot of cryptos began to show the same kind of selling, what happens? Well, I want to get behind the move. Now notice, did it matter that we're going short or that we're going long? Or does it only make sense to look for the clean context of a move? Look at the context back here. Look at this market condition right here. This was a bearish market, right? Look what happened. Right? Like, it doesn't matter that the portal teaches you to think in longs because it's just flipped. Right? I'm not going to sit there and give you okay, now for the short side. We want to think about supply and the demand. Like, we don't need to do that because we know what we're looking for and you can just flip it. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So for Solana, I want to go long, or in this case, right, I want to go short, but I'm going to talk about it from the long space. Accumulation MB, we're getting our sign of true momentum. What do I do on my V? I start watching it. This is the V that we all looked at. There is clear proof behind it. We could have traded back here. I didn't because it was still kind of under the C, and I try not to predict Cs, but I know that some of the best entries do come from these little moments here. But nonetheless, I didn't trade it. Price moved higher, and then started pausing. This is the trade I broke down last week for you guys, right here. That's where I entered through this sell stop and took an instant loss. Price came down, and I sent out a thing last week saying if price started to pause, I would trade it. Price paused. Let me show you this on the 8-minute, which is like the E micro. Take a look. Price moves higher. Price dips down. I have a simple expectancy, right? This is the move I want to make my money on. So I buy stop the high. I have my stop under a point, and I'll tell you guys what happened here. I got in, price paused, began to move higher, and I broke even right here. I thought I was just going to keep going, then it failed down, took me out, and just started going sideways. So I ignored and waited. And then we got another one of those kind of bigger dips down, right? Boom, boom. What do I expect? Continuation, pause, continuation, etc. So what do? I buy stop the high. Stop went under just a point that paused, right? Just any one of these. And then what did I do? Price began to move higher. Then it paused. And on this candle right here, I broke even. Because we had already moved quite a bit. It paused, and then on this candle, I just said it probably shouldn't come back. And since then, we are now in a trade. Doing nothing more than managing a simple trade on this thing. Nothing more. Have my alert set for in case we come take out this low. I'll probably take a 50% partial right here. But hopefully, this thing just dumps and keeps dumping, right? And everybody that's long Solana because it's a special crypto or for whatever fundamental analysis they've been doing, right? They're just going to be stuck thinking, what the fuck is going on? But this is what the market is telling you right now. So all I can do as a trader is trade my rules, because it's not about what people think. It's not about the fact that people love crypto or the fact that institutions are buying crypto sometimes. It's simply about what the market is actually saying and what the market is doing. And right now the market is consistently screaming the same thing. Let me reflip this. It's screaming the same thing. It's screaming, I want to go lower. I still think, just looking at this, I don't think we're even going to get another pause. Because like we've had enough MMB entries. Everyone behind this is likely already here. Maybe you get one more lucky one, but I think we're getting one more big flush, and then we'll start getting like some chop, finally, like this. This is what I think we're doing. So I think we're going to like around 80K, which means like this thing should just plummet, right? Like down here maybe. Who knows? All right, again, I'm not looking left, by the way. I'm not going like, oh, we can plummet to this little perfect resistance and this one. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about stage 1s and 2s. Remember that. When you see me draw a zone, like when I say stage 2, stage 1, stage 2, I'm thinking about dumping into the stage 2s, not into zones, right? Because a lot of people right now are looking left going, where is it gonna stop? Maybe I can be a buyer here or a buyer here. Ooh, look, there's like, maybe it'll be a buyer there or there or there. Like, I'm not playing that game, all right? I'm simply playing stage 1, stage 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm just looking for it to plummet. That's it. Right? I don't care what's on the left. This is the big difference between what we do and what a lot of other people do, which is that a lot of people focus on what's over here. I focus on what the story that took us here is telling us now, right? How is this story of the action telling? Like, what is the story being told by action? But yeah, just looking at this, like everything about this, once again, is showing this. That's it. There's no reason this can't just, let's go back to the V time frame. There's no reason this doesn't just like plummet through this, like at least to 82K. This is what I think is gonna happen. Now, what that means is that, you know, in the event that you get like even one single pause, you can just sell stop an up candle, right? And just look for that right there, that's a 1-to-1, and that's a good trade. And that's exactly what we did today, which is kind of define what you can do for yourself, in terms of being profitable with a system, even if it's dead stupid simple, with the only exception being waiting for the perfect C or V to actually get entered. And then you can enter like on your V, or you can enter through some refinement of an E or an E micro. Now, before we close up, everyone, do you have any questions particularly about these moments, these trades, why I took them, why I managed the way I managed, or anything else? Or, once again, do you understand how exactly what you've learned and picked up in the portal material is being extrapolated and used directly in every single market and trade that I'm taking? You guys are free to ask anything, by the way. If you don't understand, truly let me know, because I will try and work through and help you in any way that I can right now.